Today, we will talk about leadership ethics. This chapter discusses a multifaceted approach to ethical leadership, focusing on various ethical viewpoints rather than proposing a specific ethical leadership theory. It highlighted the historical concern of human beings regarding the ethics of leaders and noted the scarcity of research on theoretical foundations of leadership ethics. Despite extensive historical accounts of leaders' morals, there has been little scholarly exploration into leadership ethics, with the field still considered to be in its early stages of development. Interest in ethical leadership has grown, especially due to recent scandals in corporate and political spheres. Academic interest in understanding ethical leadership has also increased, with early writings specifically on leadership ethics emerging in the 1990s from a group of scholars brought together by the W.K. Kellogg Foundation. Their work emphasized how leadership theory and practice could contribute to creating a more compassionate and just society, culminating in the publication of Ethics, the Heart of Leadership, in 1998 by Chula. The development of ethical theory in the Western tradition traces back to philosophers like Plato and Aristotle. The term ethics comes from the Greek word ethos, meaning customs, conduct, or character. Ethics focuses on the values and morals deemed desirable by individuals or societies, as well as the virtuousness and motives of individuals. In leadership, ethics pertains to leaders' actions and character, influencing their decision-making processes. Ethical dilemmas are inherent in leadership choices, shaped by the leader's moral development. A study by Placence in 2014 highlighted that exemplary leaders prioritize care, respect, and social engagement, reflecting higher moral development. Kohlberg's stages of moral development offer a framework for understanding moral reasoning, categorized into 6 stages. Obedience and punishment, individualism and exchange, interpersonal accord and conformity, maintaining the social order, social contract and individual rights, universal principles. These stages are divided into pre-conventional, conventional, and post-conventional morality, illustrating the progression of moral reasoning. Level 1. Pre-conventional morality. In the pre-conventional morality level, individuals assess the morality of actions based on their immediate outcomes. This level consists of 2 stages. Stage 1. Obedience and punishment. Individuals at this stage view morality as external and fixed by authority figures. Adherence to rules is crucial to avoid punishment. For instance, a child refrains from stealing due to the fear of going to jail. Stage 2. Individualism and exchange. At this stage, moral decisions are guided by self-interest. Actions are considered right if they benefit the individual. Morality is seen as relative, allowing individuals to pursue their interests independently. While not necessarily aligned with communal values, individuals are open to exchanging favors. For example, an individual may propose mutual favors, such as, "I'll help you if you help me." Level 2. Conventional morality. At this level, individuals assess the morality of actions by comparing them to societal views and expectations. Authority is internalized but not questioned, and reasoning is based on group norms. Kohlberg identifies 2 stages within conventional morality. Stage 3. Interpersonal accord and conformity. Individuals make moral choices to conform to others' expectations, striving to be seen as good. For instance, a student may avoid cheating because it contradicts the standards of a good student. Stage 4. Maintaining the social order. Moral decisions are made with a focus on the well-being of society. Individuals believe it is crucial to obey laws and respect authority for societal function. For example, a person refrains from running a red light at night to uphold traffic laws and maintain order. Level 3. Post-conventional morality. This level, also known as the principled level, involves individuals developing their own ethical principles that guide their behavior, often centered on basic human rights like life, liberty, and justice. Kolberg identifies 2 stages in this level. Stage 5. Social contract and individual rights. Individuals make moral decisions based on a social contract and their vision of an ideal society, which values liberty and fair lawmaking. They recognize diverse opinions within society. For instance, if a child needs life-saving treatment that the family cannot afford, the state should intervene to provide it. Stage 6. Universal principles. Here, moral reasoning is grounded in universal principles of justice applicable to everyone. Decisions respect all viewpoints, and individuals may act against unjust laws based on their internal sense of fairness. An example is a civil rights activist who defies unjust laws in pursuit of justice. Kolberg's moral development model has faced criticism for its focus on justice values, male-centric origins, cultural biases, and the promotion of a post-conventional morality where personal principles take precedence over societal norms. Despite these critiques, the model remains foundational in understanding the basis of individuals' ethical leadership. Ethical theories in the context of ethics and leadership can be categorized into 2 main domains: theories focusing on leaders' conduct and theories emphasizing leaders' character. Discussions often revolve around these 2 areas: conduct or character. Theories concerning leaders' conduct further divide into those highlighting the consequences of actions and those stressing duty or rules governing actions. Teleological theories, like ethical egoism, utilitarianism, and altruism, assess right and wrong based on the outcomes of actions. Ethical egoism prioritizes individual benefit, while utilitarianism seeks the greatest good for the greatest number. Altruism prioritizes others' interests over self-interest. Deontological theory, on the other hand, emphasizes duty and the inherent goodness of actions, regardless of consequences. A notable example involving Bill Clinton illustrates the application of deontological theory in analyzing ethical responsibilities. Virtue-based theories, rooted in Greek philosophy, focus on individuals' character traits, emphasizing virtues like courage, honesty, and justice. These theories advocate for the development and practice of moral values to cultivate virtuous behavior in leaders. In essence, virtue-based ethics is about becoming a good person through habitual practice of virtues. Virtues are seen as inherent in individuals and can be nurtured over time. Actions reflect virtues, and virtues shape actions, emphasizing the importance of character development in ethical leadership. Leadership is fundamentally a process where leaders influence others to achieve common goals. This influence carries significant ethical responsibilities, as leaders typically hold more power and must be mindful of how their actions affect followers. Leaders are obligated to treat followers with dignity and respect, recognizing their unique identities and needs. Ethical leaders demonstrate concern for various stakeholders, including customers and society. They have a heightened responsibility to uphold ethical standards because of their capacity to impact others profoundly. Ethics is crucial in shaping organizational values, as leaders' philosophies and beliefs significantly influence the ethical climate of their organizations. Research shows that ethical leadership correlates positively with followers' perceptions of fairness and their own ethical behavior. Thus, ethics is central to leadership due to the influential nature of the leader-follower relationship, the necessity of mutual engagement in achieving goals, and the role leaders play in establishing organizational values. The following section will explore insights from prominent scholars in the field of ethics and leadership. Ronald Heifetz's approach to ethical leadership emphasizes helping followers confront and address conflicts, particularly in rapidly changing environments. His work, informed by his observations of various world leaders, highlights the importance of values, both those of workers and the organizations they serve. Heifetz believes that leaders must use their authority to mobilize individuals to tackle difficult issues. Central to this is creating a holding environment characterized by trust and empathy, where followers feel safe to address challenging problems. Leaders are responsible for guiding followers in recognizing issues, testing realities, managing conflicts, and facilitating decision-making. Ultimately, leaders assist followers in navigating change and fostering personal growth. Burns's theory of transformational leadership emphasizes the moral dimension of leadership, focusing on the needs, values, and morals of followers. Transformational leaders aim to elevate followers to higher standards of moral responsibility, distinguishing this approach from others. Like Heifetz, Burns advocates for leaders to engage with followers, assisting them in navigating personal conflicts related to values, thereby enhancing morality for both parties. Burns's views are influenced by thinkers like Maslow, Rokeach, and Kolberg, stressing the leader's role in supporting followers' moral development and helping them align with values such as liberty, justice, and equality. Despite criticisms regarding the subjective nature of moral values and the implications for leadership quality, Burns uniquely positions ethics as central to the leadership process, significantly contributing to discussions about the essence and practice of leadership. Burns in 1978 highlighted the ethical core of leadership, yet a dark side exists known as pseudo-transformational leadership, characterized by unethical and damaging practices. Lipman-Blumen in 2005 describes toxic leaders who exhibit destructive behaviors, violate human rights, and manipulate followers' fears. These leaders often display traits like lack of integrity, ambition, arrogance, and disregard for consequences. Singh, Sengupta, and Dev in 2017 identified toxic leadership factors in Indian organizations including managerial incompetency, dark traits, and narcissism. Shins and Schilling in 2013 found a strong link between destructive leadership and negative follower attitudes toward the leader, job, and organization, as well as increased stress. In 2007, Padilla, Hogan, and Kaiser developed the concept of a toxic triangle focusing on destructive leaders, susceptible followers, and conducive environments. Destructive leaders exhibit charisma and coercion for personal gain, often with traumatic life stories. Susceptible followers may conform or collude due to unmet needs or ambitions, while conducive environments enable destructive leadership to thrive, especially in unstable, authority-granting situations. Understanding destructive leadership is crucial despite limited research in this area. Developing models, theories, and assessment tools for this unethical leadership aspect is essential for a comprehensive understanding of leadership dynamics. The discussion focuses on 5 fundamental principles of ethical leadership, originating from Aristotle and widely advocated across various disciplines like biomedical ethics, business ethics, counseling psychology, and leadership education. These principles, including respect, service, justice, honesty, and community, form a solid basis for ethical leadership development. Respect is a key principle emphasized in ethical leadership, drawing on Immanuel Kant's notion that individuals should be treated with dignity and as ends in themselves, not merely as means to an end. Leaders who respect others acknowledge their autonomy, goals, and values, refraining from using them solely for personal gain. Respecting others entails recognizing their uniqueness, allowing for individuality, and validating their worth as human beings. Effective leaders who respect others create an environment where followers can express themselves freely, nurturing their needs, values, and goals. Respect involves active listening, empathy, tolerance of diverse perspectives, and affirmation of followers' beliefs and values. Through respectful interactions, leaders empower followers to feel competent and valued in their contributions, reinforcing the notion that ethical leaders treat others as deserving individuals. This slide discusses the service principle of ethical leadership, which aligns with altruism by prioritizing the welfare of followers. Altruistic behaviors in leaders include mentoring, empowerment, and team building. The ethical responsibility to serve others mirrors the healthcare principle of beneficence, which emphasizes making choices that benefit others. Notable leadership theorists, such as Bloch, Covey, and Cowsey, stress that attending to the needs of others is foundational to moral leadership. Peter Senge highlights that effective leaders should be stewards of a vision that transcends personal interests, integrating their goals with those of the organization. Robert Greenleaf's concept of servant leadership further explores this idea, emphasizing leaders' responsibility to listen, empathize, and address social inequalities. The commitment to serving the greater good has gained traction in the business world with initiatives like the Harvard Business School's pledge to ethical conduct. Ultimately, ethical leaders must focus on follower needs and act in ways that benefit others. Ethical leaders prioritize fairness and justice in their interactions with followers, ensuring equal treatment for all individuals. Justice requires leaders to base decisions on moral values, avoiding special treatment unless justified by clear and reasonable grounds. In various settings, such as sports teams, individuals value fairness and impartiality from their leaders, appreciating equal treatment and discipline for all team members. When it comes to distributing resources, rewards, or punishments within an organization, leaders play a crucial role in upholding principles of fairness. Rawls highlighted the importance of fairness in cooperative endeavors, akin to the golden rule of reciprocity found in different cultures throughout history. Conflicts over resource scarcity often lead to disputes about fair distribution methods, underscoring the need for leaders to establish clear rules for allocation to reflect ethical values. Beauchamp and Bowie outlined guiding principles for fair distribution in organizations, offering leaders a framework for decision-making. These principles help leaders navigate complex scenarios, such as the example of a small trucking company owner faced with selecting a driver for a lucrative new route among several deserving candidates with varying qualifications and circumstances. By considering these principles, leaders can make fair and just decisions in resource allocation and reward distribution. Honesty is a fundamental trait that ethical leaders must embody. Just as children are taught the value of truthfulness, leaders are expected to be honest to be considered good leaders. Dishonesty, the opposite of honesty, involves misrepresenting reality and can lead to distrust among followers, undermining the leader's credibility and impact. When leaders are perceived as dishonest, trust is eroded, respect diminishes, and relationships are strained. Being honest goes beyond simply telling the truth. It involves openness and presenting reality fully. Leaders must find a balance between transparency and discretion, considering organizational constraints and the impact of their communication on followers. Authenticity and sensitivity to others' feelings are crucial aspects of honest leadership. Dalla Costa emphasizes that honesty for leaders means keeping promises, avoiding misrepresentation, accountability, and respecting the dignity of others. Organizations should acknowledge the importance of honesty and incentivize honest behavior within their structures. Leadership, as defined in Chapter 1, involves influencing a group towards a shared goal, emphasizing the ethical dimension of working towards a common objective. Ethical leadership requires leaders to consider the interests and purposes of both themselves and their followers, striving for goals that benefit everyone involved. Authentic transformational leaders, as distinct from pseudo-transformational leaders, prioritize the common good and seek goals that align with the group's welfare. Burns' theory of transformational leadership highlights the importance of mutual goals that benefit leaders and followers alike, emphasizing the transformation of both parties in the process. Ethical leaders demonstrate caring towards others and the community, avoiding coercion and respecting individual intentions. Rost adds that ethical leadership involves a civic virtue that extends beyond self-determined goals to consider broader community objectives. Greenleaf's concept of servant leadership also emphasizes community building as a key characteristic. Ethical leaders focus on the common good, considering the impact of their actions on the larger organization, community, and society. Wilson and McCalman assert that ethical leadership should ultimately aim towards the greater good. Cultural perspectives on ethical leadership vary widely, with attributes like character, integrity, altruism, collective motivation, and encouragement being valued differently across cultures. Reesick, Hangs, Dixon, and Mitchelson's study found that while some differences exist, there is a general consensus on the importance of character and integrity in ethical leadership across various countries. Understanding these cultural perspectives on ethical leadership is crucial in an increasingly interconnected and cross-cultural world. This chapter explores the intersection of ethics and leadership, highlighting key strengths and implications of ethical leadership research. Firstly, there is a growing demand for moral leadership in contemporary society, particularly evident in recent political administrations. Ethical leadership research offers valuable insights into how leaders can navigate ethical challenges and uphold moral responsibility. Secondly, the research underscores the integral relationship between ethics and leadership, emphasizing that leadership inherently involves moral dimensions such as values, respect for followers, fairness, and community building. Ethical leadership is distinct from other forms of influence and has been associated with positive organizational outcomes like reduced deviance, increased cooperation, and enhanced performance. Thirdly, studies indicate that ethical leadership positively impacts organizational climate, influencing followers' ethical norms, attitudes, and behaviors. Ethical leaders serve as role models, fostering ethical behavior among their followers and creating a culture of integrity within the organization. Moreover, ethical leadership has been linked to various positive outcomes such as job satisfaction, performance, trust, commitment, and employee well-being. Ethical leadership research has shown consistent positive associations with followers' job attitudes, performance, leader evaluations, and organizational commitment. Lastly, advancements in measuring ethical leadership have been made, with tools like the Ethical Leadership Scale (ELS) developed by Brown, Trevio, and Harrison, providing a reliable means to assess ethical leadership behavior. This scale has become a widely used tool in ethical leadership research, contributing to a better understanding of the impact of ethical leadership on organizational outcomes and employee behavior. While the study of ethics in leadership has strengths, it also faces several weaknesses. Early stage of research. The field is still developing and lacks a robust body of research. There is conceptual confusion surrounding the definition of ethical leadership, with varying definitions based on leader intentions or follower perceptions, which may be biased. Limited empirical support. Much of the existing literature is influenced by a few prominent figures whose ideas, while enduring, are primarily anecdotal and not thoroughly tested through traditional research methods. Recent efforts to establish empirical support for ethical leadership theories are ongoing. Cultural bias. Most research has focused on Western and Anglo-American contexts, highlighting a need for broader studies that include European and Asian perspectives. Understanding diverse cultural approaches to ethical leadership is essential in an increasingly globalized world. Generational differences. Millennials present unique challenges for ethical leadership. They tend to be more individualistic, view work less centrally in their lives, and prioritize extrinsic rewards, which can influence their responses to ethical dilemmas. This generational shift complicates the landscape of ethical leadership. Evolving ethical perspectives. As ethical viewpoints can change rapidly, maintaining relevant and up-to-date research in ethical leadership is a challenge. Despite increased discussions about morality and leadership, few training programs specifically focus on teaching ethical leadership. Many existing programs aim to enhance overall managerial effectiveness, but do not directly address ethics. The research on ethics and leadership emphasizes that leadership inherently involves values, highlighting the need for leaders to be aware of their own ethical beliefs. Ethical leadership can reduce followers' tendencies to morally disengage, making them less likely to engage in deviant behavior. For instance, Pope Francis exemplifies ethical leadership by prioritizing humility and service, which sets a moral standard for his followers. Leaders can apply ethical principles from the research to reflect on their behavior, asking themselves questions about fairness and respect. The leader-follower relationship is central to ethical leadership, requiring leaders to be sensitive to the needs of others and to treat them justly and compassionately.
Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe to channel.